So my only issue is that I don't have, because we're getting ready to redo this whole tomorrow, actually, well, I can tell. It's like, so, still have to do the 6 part.
Yeah.
I hate it. Is that a good design?
These faces, I don't see very often. All through.
Yeah, and it was after that. Whatever, not protest, but provide substantial comments. You could just go.
But I was blowing up earlier. Did you mess with the thermostat?
I didn't touch it. I did not touch it. I found the key, but I didn't touch it. I did not touch the note. And I locked it back up. I didn't touch it. I swear to God, not that well.
Yeah. Does it seem brighter in here too?
Jerry had to let me know. I noticed something was different, then yeah.
It's not a good thing. So even I need to go.
The things obvious, I'm not gonna observe it. If they're not obvious, that's when I
Good catch it.
yeah, it's an obvious one, so I didn't catch it.
You ready?
Yeah.
Perfect timing.
We are. No, just so when we start the presentation, so Jerry can see.
Oh, okay.
Russell, you gonna meet the governor on Thursday? I saw the email today, so we'll see. You gonna go with me? Sure, I'll. 5:30, right? Yes, sir. All right, everybody, today is Monday, July 22nd, 2024. The time is now 6:01 in the evening. We're here for the regular scheduled Board of Trustees meeting at the Nicia Town Hall. The first item on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next item on the agenda is roll call and determination of the quorum. Ms. Blair, if you would please.
Mayor Hernandez.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Merritt. Present. Trustee Cadena. Present. Trustee Johnson Burek.
Here.
Trustee Nevares.
Present.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
Great, thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is changes and approval to the agenda. Can I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved by Trustee Nevares, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Merritt. And the motion will carry with unanimous consent unless there's objection or discussion. Seeing as there is none, the agenda has been approved as it has been noted. Next up on the agenda is approval of the consent agenda, which includes the DOT minutes from our last meeting on 7/8, as well as the meeting minutes from the work session and a public hearing that was held that day. This also includes on the consent agenda approval of PZHAC case 061853 for 2030 Calle de Parian, a PZHC case 061858 for 1978 Calle Picana, PZHAC case 061862 for 2025 Calle de Parian.
So moved. Second.
Motion by Trustee Johnson Burek, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick. There again, if there is no objection, motion will carry with unanimous consent. Thank you very much for approval of the consent agenda, which includes the meeting minutes for public hearing, DOT work session, as well as the regular meeting minutes for 7/8/2024. Also the PZHAC case 061853, PZHC case 061858, PZHAC case 061862. Next order of business is our presentation. This evening we'll be having a presentation by Murda about the non-emergency reporting platform. By Mr. Vermont.
Good evening, Mayor and trustees. I want to thank you very much. My name again is Jennifer Gorm. I'm the Executive Director of the Mesilla Valley Regional Dispatch Authority here in Las Cruces. I'm going to kind of pop over here as we're doing this.
Okay, so that's why you can't,
So if you're not aware, Mesilla Valley Regional Dispatch Authority is the 911 center for Doñana County, including Doñana County, the city of Las Cruces, city of Sunland Park, town of Mesilla, village of Hatch, and the city of Anthony. So pretty much we dispatch for anybody within the county with the exception of state police and the university. In 2023, we had over 351,000 phone calls that came into our center. Out of that 351,000 phone calls, we did dispatch for over 328,000 incidences. I wanted to bring up this screen to really show, we're going to talk about non-emergency reporting, which is going to focus primarily on law enforcement, animal control, and codes. So you'll notice that a majority of the calls that come in that require dispatches do require some sort of law enforcement interaction. Okay. So in June of this year, MRPTA went ahead and established what is called our non-emergency online reporting. That can be accessible via our website at mvrda.org. About halfway down the screen, you're going to see the little icon over there to the left that says MRPTA 911 Operations and Online Reporting. There is a very quick click of a button that'll take us directly to the next screen. So when you access, it's going to pop up to this first screen here. The way the system is currently developed is it will automatically geographically populate where you are currently making your phone or making your request from. So say for instance, I was at my place of work, which is 911 Lake. However, I wanted to have service performed at my home in another part of the county. I would want to change that address to where I'm wanting to have services rendered. Okay. However, if it's the address that you're currently at, then you don't need to make any change and you can just accept and say yes. Then the next section in the middle is going to ask what kind of response you're looking for. Are you looking for law enforcement response, animal control, or codes? The next drop down is going to say what kind of response you're wanting. So say for instance, if you're looking for a non-emergency response from law enforcement, for instance, a burglary that took place, a theft that has already taken place, give some other examples. You need to have an officer respond to you regarding a previous case that has already been under discussion. Something of that that's not life or limb that's going to require immediate interaction. Then there's going to be a drop-down box and you're going to be able to make those selections. There is also a box that says other. It's very important that if you put other, that further down you put as much as you possibly can in the comment section. So it'll give us, so we can ensure that you receive the services that you need. Then you have the option to say how you want to receive those services. Do you want to have a law enforcement officer give you a phone call? Do you want them to meet you at a location? Or are you just wanting to report and you do not require a response back? You'll have opportunities for codes and animal control. So if you have a trap that you needed animal control to come and respond to. If you have a weeds situation somewhere in your neighborhood and you need to have codes respond, then that is another opportunity as well. And again, putting as much information as you possibly can in the comment section is going to help assist us in the process. The last section of the screen is just going to be your contact information so that we can make sure to make contact with you. Once you hit submit at the bottom, you are gonna receive a confirmation. And it's important to keep that number. However, honestly, give us your address or your phone number, we're gonna be able to look that up for you as well. So don't fret if you can't remember your confirmation number. So you may be asking, why are we wanting to do this? There's several reasons. I came into the role as an interim in December of this year, and one of the things that we noticed, I personally noticed, were repetitive calls that are coming in that do not require immediate service, however, service in a timely manner. And what we wanted to do was to have another opportunity for our staff to be able to prioritize those calls. So the call that's coming in on the non-emergency line that is for a theft that occurred last week is coming in the same priority as another non-emergency that may potentially be taking place currently. This new system is gonna allow us to help prioritize that process for us. In addition, we have limited number of staff personnel as everybody experiences staff shortages. Allowing our limited number of staff to respond to those emergency calls first is of course our priority. So again, the less number of physical phone calls coming in allows for the emergency calls to come in on a timelier fashion. So this is something that we're rolling out. We've already seen success throughout various communities throughout the county and inside the city limits of City of Las Cruces. And we're just wanting to kind of inform the public about the new opportunity that we have. I would highly recommend that you bookmark our website on your phone, or go to the murda.allastar.com and bookmark that so that you can also make those comments at the same time. I'll tell you an example for myself. I know we often get very busy and you're like, oh, I need to report something, and then I get to work and I get distracted and I forget about it. But it's very easy now on my phone to go to my bookmark and make that report rather than forgetting and needing to call it. So I just want to really highlight and promote this opportunity to still be able to provide a great service to the community, but allow MRTA to be able to prioritize our calls in a more timely fashion. And that's what I have for the team today. Before I leave too, I would also, may I approach with cards?
Thank you, Ms. Cole.
Of course, thank you.
And for any community members that are attending, I'm so glad to see a whole bunch of people here. My email address is on the screen. I'd be more than happy to give you a card as well, so if you want to make contact. And my final plug before I leave today is I'm always wanting to highlight our staff. Our team does a remarkable job with the limited number of staff members that we have. So I'm gonna put a plug out there. We are currently hiring. So if you go to our website, we have a posting that is currently opening that is closing on August 7th for 911 call takers that will eventually move into the dispatch role. And I would love to see some applicants. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Do you have any questions for me before I start the room?
I just want to first off say thank you for everything that you and your team do for our community, because it is an important role and job. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Trustees.
Yes, I had a question, but first, thank you, but I probably a question more for the mayor or somebody in the staff. How is this information going to be provided to the residents so it's readily available to the CR residents?
On my behalf, I will say that we have done some press releases. We have had a release done through KBIA through their system. We've also, the county has been providing some outreach. It's on their website, it's on our website, but anything that we can do for our other communities to help get the word out would be greatly appreciated.
Good evening. My name is Will Martinez, engineer, EMTI with the Fire Department. So one of the things we can also do on our side is add it to Community Connect. So we're trying to push that a little bit forward as we go on. So we can add a link into that and design it however we need to make it appropriate or make it available to the community.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No? Thank you very much, and thank you for your time. Next item on the agenda is public input on cases. This is where we give the opportunity for the public to give any input on the cases being heard this evening. If there is any. Seeing as there is none, we'll move forward with for action and considerations. Under new business, we have approval of the fire department auto aid agreement.
So moved. Second.
Okay. Moved by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick, seconded by Trustee Johnson Burek. And Mr. Embry, if you wouldn't mind, for just a minute, but really, just if you recall, this is a discussion that Fire Chief had with us a while back about the auto aid that we're gonna be working on as a community, kind of in step with what MRVA is having here, but we're all it's a true first responder basis, right? We're
Yes, it's
Everybody works.
designed to act where it minimizes duplication of resources, enables first responders to be on the same sheet of music, respond appropriately and quickly. Messiah obviously has limited staffing for fire emergency response. So what this does is allow for the neighboring districts, no matter where we are or where they're at, to come to the neighboring districts quickly with the 911 system.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Are there any questions, trustees? No? Seeing as there is none, Gloria, if you can roll call vote, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Merrick,
Yes.
Trustee Nevares,
Yes.
Trustee Johnson Burek,
Yes.
Trustee Cadena,
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 4 yeses.
Great, thank you very much for the approval of our fire department auto aid agreement that'll greatly support our community as well as the communities across Guyana. Next up on the agenda is approval of resolution 2025-3 for budget adjustments.
So moved.
Second.
Been moved by Trustee Nevada, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick. We'll open it up for discussion. Gloria, I'll give this one to you.
In your packet, you had the resolution with the adjustments. You did approve one of those resolutions prior, but it was recommended that we wait until now and combine everything together so that everything flows correctly. Okay, so you do have that first one. And are you gonna vote on that one first? or-
We'll do the vote on that. Any questions on the budget adjustments as they've been noted here on attachment A?
I got a question. This is the final one for this year?
Yes, this is the final one that'll balance everything for 2020.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Okay. Seeing as there are none, Gloria, if you will roll call vote.
Trustee Nevares?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson Burek?
Yes.
Trustee Cadena?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Merrick?
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 4 yeses.
Great, thank you very much for approval of resolution 2025-3 for our final budget adjustments. Next up is approval of resolution 2025-4 for our fiscal year 23-24 quarterly financial report.
So moved. Second.
Mayor Pro Tem and Trustee Johnson Burek with a second. I'll open it up for discussion. Gloria, I'll let you start off.
Okay, in your packet, and I just gave you some clean copies from this morning, you have the treasurer's report that is off the system, our system. Then you have the recap that is entered into LGBNS. And then you have your preliminary budget. Everything, it goes from your preliminary budget to the treasurer's report to the recap and all of those balances. You will notice that there are some negatives. No, the LGBNS will not accept the negatives, but that's why you have that other resolution to approve all those adjustments. Okay.
Trustees, any questions? Seeing as there are none, Gloria, roll call vote if you would, please.
Trustee Cadena?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson Burek?
Yes.
Trustee Nevares?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Merrick?
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 4 yes.
Great, thank you very much for that approval of resolution 2025-04 for our 23-24 quarterly financial report. Next up is approval of resolution 2025-5 for our 24-25 fiscal year revenue and operating budget.
So, second.
Motion, so.
So moved.
Okay,
Second.
sorry, it's because these microphones are a little bit louder than normal. All right, motion by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick, second by Trustee Johnson Buick. I'll open it up for discussion and have Lori open with it.
I've also included in your packet is the budget recap from LGB and then whatever is entered, what we've entered into, what I've entered into the system, which balances to the preliminary budget. So, I don't know, any questions?
Trustees, any questions? No? Seeing as there are none, Lori, roll call vote, please.
Trustee Johnson Burr?
Yes.
Trustee Nevares?
Yes.
Trustee Cadena?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Merrick?
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 4 yes.
Great, thank you, Lori, and thank you, trustees, for that resolution
And I want
approval for 2025-5 for 24-25 fiscal year revenue and operating budget.
to say thank you because it's been a long journey and we're gonna meet the deadline.
Okay, the deadline is.
Next up is approval for Board of Adjustments appointments.
So moved. Second.
Then moved by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick, seconded by Trustee Johnson Buick. What we have here is for the Board of Adjustments in our original slate that we had provided. We had the Vice Chair, Mr. David Salas, in for the Board of Adjustments, but unfortunately he's unavailable at the moment for the time being. So I would like to reappoint Mr. Eric Gallegos to the Board of Adjustments with your approval. And he is the next commissioner line. Do we have a motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick, second by Trustee Johnson Buick? Is there any discussion? Seeing as there is none, Gloria, roll call vote, if you would please.
Mayor Pro Tem Merrick?
Yes.
Trustee Nevares?
Yes.
Trustee Johnson Burr?
Yes.
Trustee Cadena?
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 4 yes.
Great, thank you very much for that approval for Eric Gallegos to be appointed to the, as a planning and zoning commissioner for the Board of Adjustments on that. Next up is for discussion of our community development administrative approvals. Because this is a discussion only item, there is no motion or second needed on that. But what we have here is just rolling right into it. For that discussion is in our ordinances. There's a lot of back and forth in it that kind of goes through what can and cannot be approved by community development as an administrative approval. Trying to go through some of this and kind of line it out for just some of the basic items. It's that last page that you see on the agenda. With that in line, there is verbiage in there that does specifically say that there should be a resolution by the governing body in order to kind of push through what administrative approval should look like for the staff, as well as lining out kind of, I figured while we were doing the administrative approvals, it'd be wise for us to kind of line out as well. I think it did, see? We've been having issues with that anyways, but it gets updated tomorrow. But at any rate, what we have is that I went ahead and did just a simple little kind of chart here that has the main things that happen within our town for business licenses, signage, new occupied construction, accessory buildings, additional living space repairs, and maintenance over 10,000, repairs and maintenance of something that's existing, so that being under 10,000, interior changes to structures, rezoning, and subdivision requests, replat, and summary subdivisions. Of course, outside of this, there's a whole lot of other areas within our ordinance. I'm just picking the main part right here that we can duly define for the staff to move forward with applications. So what you see in red is where the final approval happens. So where you see here in town staff, or have it broken down on the left, town staff, which would be your administrative approvals, planning and zoning, board of trustees on there. So where business licenses you see for all zones, the business license would be signed off and approved by town staff. What I am looking, just so for clarification and on all of this, is creating, or Eddie is, I should say, working on creating an internal process where any licenses regardless go before each department and get signed off by each department as well. But this is specifically for business licensing in particular. So just that kind of idea. So you would see that business licenses in general would be approved by staff. Signage would have if there was any signage that was in the rural farm zone or in the R1 zone, would be first kind of administered by staff and previewed by staff, and then goes to final approval by the Planning and Zoning Commission, just as it states within our ordinances presently. So that's just kind of taking these in here as it is. So that's where you see under Planning and Zoning, HR, HC, and the commercial district with the signage. The Planning and Zoning Commission would have the initial approval or the recommendation, and then make that recommendation to the Board of Trustees, giving the final approval to the Board of Trustees. So this is an explanation of kind of how I have this set up. Of course, you can see the bottom there, but I just wanted to get this in for discussion from you all, if there is any, if you agree with this, if there's other things that you might want to see, just so that we can have clarification on approval for staff, as well as for the Planning and Zoning Commission, and provide a little bit more direction. And of course, public hearing is noted there, with public hearing with a PH, all for us here at the Board of Trustees level.
Mr. Mayor, so are some of these based on just, since we just received it, or didn't just receive it, since I'm looking at it now more in depth, are some of our ordinances going to have to change?
Well, this meets a lot of our ordinances in the way that
Okay.
the ordinances read,
Okay.
so it's really just providing the direction more than anything for those
staff.
admin approvals for staff,
Okay.
more than anything. So like where we've had temporary signage, for example, in our code, it specifically says that temporary, in one part it says temporary signage can be approved by staff, and then it says it's as long as it's 15 days or less for that temporary signage. Twice a year that temporary signage can be posted. And then in that same breath, a little bit farther down in the code, and still in that same section, it says that temporary signage can be approved by staff with the approval and the consent of the Board of Trustees through an adoption of a resolution. Hence why I'm trying to make this to where we're kind of following our code as it's presently presented, and providing the direction, full direction to the staff as well as to the commission. So that's where a lot of this information is coming from. And of course, a lot of this can be duly checked by the code, and I would definitely recommend that. Or if there's anything else that you want to see in here in specific, let myself or let Eddie know as we work on drafting up that resolution.
So does this pretty much reflects what we've been doing all along, or is there some major changes to it?
They're not major changes, it's just a lot of clarification, and more so just providing that direction.
And I know I get concerned when stuff appears and it hasn't been approved, and that's a whole other different issue because they have not gone through the proper process. And I guess my other concern is how much leniency, to give to the staff, especially in historic residential and the historic commercial.
Right.
But it's not, I've mentioned that before, so
Well, and that's why when we look at this, for the staff, when you're really looking at it, the business license, it's a license. It's not, it's just saying that you can operate this type of business, within these specific zones, right? Then when we look at accessory buildings, it would be like building a shop, a work shed, or a wall, within the rural farm zone, so on and so forth, not a building to live in that. When we look at repairs and maintenance of existing, it would be like an existing sign in a commercial zone that needs to be repaired to what it is presently, repainted, redone. Same for restuccoing a house, and that's why I put that repair and maintenance, because if we're doing, and that dollar amount was just suggested. And of course, you all tell me what you want to see there, or discuss that by all means. But I put 10,000 because I thought 10,000 was a decent limit for minor repairs, as minor repairs would be to that. And if it exceeds that $10,000 limit, then that's probably considered a major repair at that point in time. And then will probably need to be reviewed by planning and zoning as well as staff. But as long as we define that through resolution, then that kind of sets that direction and that precedence for our staff to follow, as well as our commission. If that makes sense. Trustee.
So, will there be like a list of projects that have been administratively approved, or, if you have questions, that you can refer to the listing, or how's that?
Exactly. So, well, and I know these aren't working, so it was earlier and then it's out. But and that's what Eddie's been providing to you all, and then he's been requested to provide that to the Planning and Zoning Commission as well. So that report will definitely be in both meetings for administrative approvals that do happen. And then of course, throughout anything at any point in time, just for that discussion there, is if there's anything that you all see, or even the residents that see something that does not appear to be there, or in compliance, reach out to staff, reach out to codes. Jose's been really good about staying on top a lot of that stuff. So it's just the communication piece, and we can drive down on those things.
Can I make some comments?
Please do.
Yeah. Oh, well, this isn't working. I have concerns about, obviously, we're very, very concerned about historical residential, historical commercial, and commercial, just because that impacts, the whole ambiance of the place. But so does R1, RA, and RF. And what this shows, and I know it's an interpretation of the ordinances, but I've already seen that, that in some cases, there's been approvals in the R1, RA, and RF zone that in my view do not meet the ordinance. That is as it's written right now, that things have been approved. Like an accessory building is a big deal, because an accessory building on a 3-acre plot that's humongous is going to change. So for staff to approve that without anybody else looking at it, which is what you have basically said for R1, RA, and RF. I respect staff, but at the same time, if you're going to build, something huge on a 1-acre plot or whatever, I'm not sure that staff, I'm concerned about that, because we heard Eddie himself say, it's good that I don't have an investment in the CIA, because that way I can be, more, I don't know how he put it, but that concerns me.
Unbiased.
Unbiased. But yeah, we don't want somebody to be biased that they're gonna approve one and not the other on the same or similar properties. But at the same time, that will really change our R1, RA, and RF zones if we start seeing accessory buildings for, what does that actually mean, an accessory building? Is it a shed that's 12 by 12? Or is it a
huge storage warehouse building that's, 10,000 square feet, or 5,000 square feet. That's a big difference in a R1, RA, and RF zone. So, and once we approve it, and we say that it's administratively approved, it's not like afterwards when we get the list, we can say, well, I'm concerned, or I don't want that to happen, because I don't want a 5,000 square foot warehouse on an R1 zone. You know what I mean? Because those are residential, they're 1 acre, and we don't want a store, some kind of storage or even a business run out of there where, those things do happen, and if there's no other people looking at it, an additional living space, here we are, RA and RF, that's going to be approved at, very, again, mostly at the administrative level. So I just have some concerns about that. I'm glad you brought it up today, and I don't know how everybody else feels, but you see, all of this is going to be administratively approved without going any further, right? In the RF zones, hardly R1, RA, RF zones, we hardly get any look at what might be happening. So, and like I said, in my interpretation of some of the ordinances are not matching what I've seen administratively approved already. So, that's my comment. I'm gonna look closer at that and match these up. And I feel like, I'd like to see what he's presenting ahead of time so I can look at it. I don't want to present it here at a meeting where I'm gonna have to decipher everything that's being said. So I would prefer not to have the resolution that you guys are planning next meeting without seeing it first, so that I can look at the ordinance book and see what the interpretation there is by staff, right? Staff is staff, they shouldn't be biased, but we're trying to maintain a certain integrity within our town limits, even in the R1, RA, and RF zones, right?
Right, and that's why we're doing this and looking at this, is meeting that and understanding that, of course, in all of these decisions that would be made, regardless of any level that they are made at, whatever the applicant would have to still meet the requirements of that zone. So to an accessory building that might be like a casita, it would still have to meet the requirements of that zone specifically in the total maximum square footage of that. And that's regardless of the area, but definitely to that point, trustees, that's why we have this discussion, and that's why I bring it up for discussion. So we can look at this and review it, and it's an easy change. It's
Right.
nothing crazy. So.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's, like I said, I wouldn't be as concerned if I hadn't seen already in the list one or two approvals that I thought, when I went to look at the ordinance, really did, in my view, meet the ordinance. It wasn't something tragic, something that was gonna really destroy the look of the area or whatever, but for me, in my interpretation of the ordinance, which I'm familiar with, the spirit of the ordinance is like most of us are, because we've been here so long, right? We've been here on multiple generations, so we knew what they meant when they wrote the ordinance, And so, new staff interpreting what they think the ordinance might mean is different from the original intent, could be. And I've seen that happen a couple times already, especially in those kind of zones that people aren't really paying attention to, like R1, RA, and RF.
That's great. Yeah, I concur with Trustee Cadena. I just think we have preserved Mesilla and kept Mesilla and kept the historical integrity for as long as we could, because we have those controls. I think controls are very important. It concerns me. I'm concerned, especially, I guess, if I mention the R1, RA, and the rural farm, if we're not keeping control on that. It also, we don't know what's going to be built. And I have a concern with that. And then the other thing is, if the construction occurring, if they know that they only have to get an administrative approval and don't have to go through planning and zoning, don't have to go through the board, that gives them, in my opinion, more latitude to do what they want to do, knowing that it's already been approved. So let's take, let's go another foot or 2 feet higher. We've seen it happen when someone has had to go through all those 3 layers and they've still done it. And it was an awful situation. And I think letting go of some of those controls, it might be more apt to happen because it's already been approved and who's gonna be checking? So just my thoughts on that.
Any other discussion? What I would recommend is trustees, please make sure that you're taking a look at this and make those recommendations. Please
Okay.
reach out to myself, reach out to Eddie, what has already been mentioned, that'll definitely, we'll look at that and see. That's an easy change, to make that happen. Some of this has been the way that we've been operating in the past as well, too. So just keep that in mind, but that's not to say that we can't change that, because that's what we do. We got to protect what we have, just as it's been noted. But please provide me with those discussion points or any questions that you may have. Dive into this in your downtime, if you would, please. That way we can provide this direction to both our staff as well as our commission. All right?
Okay, one more thing. I mean, he's, to be brought by resolution for approval at the next meeting. So is it possible, so is this what you're presenting and then you'll narratively make this into a resolution for next meeting? Is that your plan?
Correct.
So this is what you're going to put this in a narrative form? Okay.
With any, of course, provided discussion
so that-
that we have and any changes that might occur because of said discussion,
Okay, so this is actually the presentation in a graph
in a
form.
nutshell.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. I'd still like to see the narrative before.
Well, and that's
Before
what
it's
you're,
brought on to the resolution and before Friday afternoon, before the meeting. It would be nice, just because we're busy schedules. So I appreciate it as soon as, because maybe it'll make more sense to me, or some of it will match the ordinance a little bit better if it's a narrative form. Although I like this because it's pretty clear cut in this way. And it really does denote here where the rural farm, the R1, RA, and RF are not, are being approved at a much higher level.
those are easy things to change if you want the oversight. That is not that crazy. All right, thank you for that discussion and input. Next up, we have on the agenda, we have a public input. This is where we allow the public to give any input and to address the board as they would like. So if there's any public that would like to give input, please step to the podium and state your name for the record.
Mary Helen, Wiki 2231 Coyote Santiago. I just wanted to give some information that a short-term rental visitor told me. She lives, I think they live in Texas somewhere. She says that they always use the website to find out what's going on in the town. And she says that the website is not updated, there's old information on it, and she suggested that it be looked at so that visitors will know what's going on and perhaps be more anxious to visit the town of Vicia when they come. So I told her I would share that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ricci. Is there any other public comment?
Hello, everybody. My name is Cole Morris. I'm an engineer, EMT intermediate with the Messiah Fire Department. I just want to thank you guys for approving the auto-aid. That's going to be such a huge difference for us and for the people around us. As you all know, we're a volunteer department, so we're not always able to make it there on time, always able to get there as fast as we should. And that's going to allow these communities around us to be able to get to us when we need help. We've been doing a lot of help for people around us. We do a lot of what they call mutual aid, so we have to be requested in order to go. They don't just send us right away. And we built a great working relationship with everybody around us, and I feel like this auto aid is going to help kind of pay us back for that. It's done this is going to be a huge boost of morale for the entire department, because I'm not going to lie to you guys, we get a little overwhelmed sometimes. I know we're already up over 480 calls this year, and that's a lot for a department with one paid person. So this auto aid is going to be a huge help for all of us going forward. I just want to thank you guys so much for that. It's going to be amazing. That's all I got.
Thank you, Mr. Morris.
Hi, Will Martinez again, engineer, EMT intermediate. I just want to thank you guys. I've lived in Messiah for about a year and 3 months, 2242 Cadwell Server Department lead. Unfortunately, we're moving about 3 minutes outside the district, so still close enough to respond stuff. But I just want to say thank you. As working people being cold, we get a pit in our chest when we see a call that we can't handle appropriately when we're at work. So it's going to be relieving to see that we're going to get the appropriate resources to the town of Messiah when, some of us who are usually kind of like the people who are signing the calls, trying to provide the aid, unable to do so. So I just want to thank you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Martinez. Is there any other public comment this evening? All right, seeing as there is none, we'll move on to our next order of business, which is closed executive session. And this is for discussion of limited person matters pursuant to NMSA 1978, section 10-15-1, concerning an open position within, or a couple of open positions within the Marshal's Department. I can have a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
It's been moved by Trustee Navades, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick. And if there is no objection or discussion, the motion will carry with unanimous consent, and we'll be going into executive closed session. And the time is now 6:45, and we are in executive closed session.
I know, that's why I lost my train of thought. I was like, oh, and then all this. I mean.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I'm glad.
Might need all of them.
Where'd you get it? Saturday. It's a military supplies. I like But some of them, they're like, all the community have, that's one of them. And there's some. Yeah. We have a both sides. I have a bit too. Pretty scary. She's talking at the boards on shit. We have. Veterans have 5 everybody else is kind of. Hey, that's not, that's hard. It is hard. And it gets harder when you have less. So, oh, there. So like, oh, I made I'm still doing the less. Yeah, it's these are the.
Telling somebody. Yeah. I feel like meeting with really parliamentary tomorrow.
Are you on tonight?
Oh, were you talking about okay, because he didn't agree. Well, he brought it up, he was surprised that was. And so he said, he kind of let her.
So I kind of like, what do you?
The other thing that was at the Robin.
Yeah, I was like.
talked about it, you know. Oh, it's funny, I got to have a very good view of when. She can make her or not, he does feel, you can take that as your. I know. Oh, well, she's not that, that's a business.
And then on the way back,
But she, really doesn't, but she still is an effort. I might have totally, I think you're smart, so. And it is the parents.
So I show up and I'm like.
Yeah, because I just, I mean, she may see, because what he's told us is just a general comment. But I swear in the session that we
Yeah, so. It was like. So I figured she wrote that.
And then, yeah.
So now.
But, you know, it was really a call for, it's just like. So ever since then, they see lots of. And it sounds like.
Let's see, like there's yeah. One of
It's only been like 6 or 7 months and I feel like 2 years.
Still not back on, so that's okay, right? That feels good. All right, the time is now 6:56 in the evening. We are returning from closed executive session with only those items being discussed during executive session for limited personnel matters for the open positions within the Marshal's Department. If I can have a motion to exit executive closed session and re-enter our general meeting.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved by Trustee Navas, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick. And if there is no objection or discussion, the motion will carry unanimously and we will be exiting executive session, re-entering our regular meeting. Seeing as there is no objection, the time is now 6:57. We are in our regularly scheduled meeting. We do have approvals for our coming out of executive closed session. That is for Marshall's position. And I would like to say, first we'll hear these, that we do have two positions to be looking to fill, and we will hear them both separately. First, I'd like to have a motion to approve Mr. Andres Montoya to be joining our Marshall's Department.
So moved. Thank you.
Motion on the floor by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick, seconded by Trustee Cadena, and I'll open it up for discussion. If any. Seeing as there is none, Gloria, roll call vote if you would please.
Trustee Johnson Burek?
Yes.
Trustee Nevada?
Yeah.
Yes.
Trustee Cadena? Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Merrick?
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 4 yeses.
Great, thank you for your appointment of Deputy Andres Montoya joining our Marshals Department. Next up, I'd like to have a motion for approval of Ms. Sandra Lopez joining our Marshals team.
So moved. Second.
Been moved by Trustee Nevada, seconded by Mayor Pro Tem Merrick. I will open it up for discussion, if any. Trustee Johnson Burke, I believe you said you were gonna abstain from voting?
Yes, I will be abstaining to prevent any perceived conflict of interest because this applicant is a very good friend of mine. So I was not involved in the interview process and I will not be voting on it as well. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Trustee. Is there any discussion for Ms. Lopez? Seeing as there is none, Gloria, roll call vote, if you would, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Merrick?
Yes.
Trustee Cadena?
Yes.
Trustee Nevada?
Yes.
Mayor, the roll call is 3 yeses.
Great, thank you very much for that vote for Ms. Sandra Lopez to be joining our Marshals Department. So congratulations, Mr. Marshall, on your appointment, sir. Next on our agenda is Board of Trustee Committee reports. We'll start with Trustee Nevada's.
I don't have any.
Trustee Johnson Burke,
No committee reports.
Trustee Cadena,
No committee reports.
Mayor Pro Tem Merrick.
No committee reports, but we did go.
You can do that under.
No, but we have a MPO coming up August 14th.
Great, thank you. That is coming right up around the corner. I do wanted to say for committee reports in this, if we can also include any reports in the future that you all may have as a liaison to the specific departments that we've had, just so that we can ensure that there's still that communication and collaboration throughout the departments. It does help to support me as well as our department heads with all everything that they may need there. Next up on the agenda is Board of Trustee and staff comments. We'll open with Mr. Marshall.
Just want to thank you for the 2 appointments. They'll be a great addition to the town and the department. The new 700 radio system should be rolling out tomorrow. They're going to do it agency by agency. We have all our handhelds issued, charged, and ready to go. So hopefully no issues when we get called up for that one. No issues on the first day of school. SRO Hernandez, Acting Sergeant Hernandez was at ZIA all day, and myself and Lieutenant Diaz traded out for the high school. SRO Hernandez will be going on vacation, so Deputy 2 Nanez was moved into the SRO position for the remainder of this week and next Monday and Tuesday. Myself and the lieutenant will change or do our patrols at the high school as well until we can fill that spot. I just got an invite to Governor Grisham's Public Safety Town Hall on Thursday, late notice, so I should be attending that and hopefully see the mayor. Other than that, no other reports, but I do want to recognize the promotion of Sergeant Diaz to Lieutenant Diaz. So I have his promotion letter. Know ye that the marshal, by virtue of the powers conferred on him by the town of Mesilla and with concurrence by the mayor, did on the 8th day of July 2024 promote Sergeant Trustee Diaz to the rank of lieutenant in the Mesilla Marshal's Department with all the rights and privileges retained. So just wanted to present that. Put him on the spot, speech.
Oh, hey. My peanut gallery is here, my family. I wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for the opportunity to have to work here. Prior to working with C, I did have some issues that I did have to work through. Being here and put in the positions that I have been have made me grow as a person, as a man, and as an officer. With that being said, I want to thank retired Marshal Salas for inviting me in, accepting me into this position. Lieutenant Escada did, wow, at the time,
for being so supportive. I wouldn't be here without them, without my family, without the support that they've had for me. And I wish to continue to grow and help the town of Mesilla in any.
Thank you, Lieutenant. Continue on with staff comments. Lorenzo, you're up. Public Works.
Good evening, board. I want to start off first by saying thank you for giving me the opportunity to showcase my, I guess you say, level of skills to the next level, and hopefully I can, fulfill that as I have with the others. So I'm looking forward to doing that. And I just have a couple of reports on projects that we have going on right now. We have a couple of sheds that are going on out on at the parks, which is the Parque de los Leones, if I'm not mistaken, and Commemorative Park. Those are getting rolling already. They've already started doing, they broke ground. They're gonna add their beams already and almost, start doing their thing. So depending on the weather, hopefully there shouldn't be too many roadblocks ahead of that. Second, and then we've been working really hard to get the Pikachu one going. We've been having meetings with utilities, as far as Comcast, El Paso Electric, but we've got the things rolling, stuff moving. So hopefully within the next couple of weeks or 6 weeks, hopefully we'll get that one rolling, and you'll see some construction going on there. And the city of Las Cruces has they finally finished up right there at the Veterans Park. Yeah, they hopefully, all of that is solved with everything that they put in. They came back, they resodded everything. We'll be doing a final walkthrough within the next week or so also too. So we can finalize that and bring the park back up to par. And that's all I got.
Mr. Mayor?
That's not it though.
Okay.
Trustee.
No, thank you for bringing up the veterans. I saw that they had, there I go again, doesn't work. Resodded everything, and so
Yes, ma'am.
now we'll get like you just mentioned, it's good to hear that we'll get the fountain going again, and I'll remember we always have beautiful flowers around there and
Yeah, we're gonna start
grass.
putting the pieces of the puzzle back
That's,
together again.
yeah. All right, thank you, Lorenzo, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mayor.
Definitely. And is there any other questions for Lorenzo or comments?
You say that there's a shade structure going into Opiones Park? Is that why the stakes are?
Yeah, that's the caution statements that are out. They dug about a hole about 6 feet deep, I guess, where the beams are gonna go. They got rebar in it right now. So they're just, I guess that they're waiting on the approval of this, an inspection, and they'll move forward. They'll move forward with it.
And one thing with that project that I want to note is that, and I don't know if we've discussed it before, but this was a shade structure from last year through that funding through the Department of Tourism. But what we were able to find is that if we went a different direction through another company, we actually had enough funding to split that, so we could do one shade structure at Los Leones Park, and then we did another shade structure at Commemorative Park. So we'll see. So we'll have two shade structures going on there. The other, because Lorenzo doesn't talk, there's a lot of projects going on right now, and it's great to see. As you see, one of the other projects in this room alone is that this room has been recently repainted. Starting tomorrow, we get the infrastructure in, so hopefully we won't have this issue again without the microphones working, and we'll actually have other sources of audio visual in here as well. So that all starts tomorrow afternoon. So by our next meeting, we'll be ready to rock and roll with that. Trustee.
I just had a question with the new setup. It'll be easier for me to see the screen there.
So we're gonna have likely one over here and one here or over there. one or the other. So it's gonna be determined on, where they say is gonna be the best spot for that, so, all right? But yes, there'll be two big, I think they had 80-inch screens that they were putting in, if I remember correctly, so. And then with the Picacho project, and the Santiago project, that we also had the submission, through DOT for the electric, charging stations, that would be going there at the park, as well as here at Town Hall. So hopefully we'll find out sooner than later, on those, electric vehicle charging stations. And as Lorenzo had mentioned, it feels like you and I have been out meeting with utilities, meeting with, but with the engineers and everybody, walking that park, several times. But the park has several different moving pieces, that are going into it. We did get, and I kind of briefly mentioned this at our last one, but we did receive another $150,000 in funding from the Department of Tourism to actually fulfill putting in a full parking lot there at town or at the community center park. So that'll add an additional 30 parking spaces to that, along with some other infrastructure that we're planning on putting in as far as it pertains to signage and directional information that was provided through that grant funding. So, and I could keep going on and on, but Dorothy also directly affects Lorenzo's department. Dorothy's Clean and Beautiful grant approved and submitted, so that Clean and Beautiful is putting in water fountain infrastructure, park benches, trash cans, and then of course flowering plants throughout the town that are all put in by our Public Works team. So I just want to throw that out there on that, because you got a lot going on right now. So and with limited manpower at that, which we're working on getting filled, right? Very good. All right.
I just want to thank you for all, and your staff for all the work you're doing in the town.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lorenzo. Next on staff comments, Town Clerk Treasurer. Here we go.
Once again, I'd like to say thank you. If I can sleep tonight, okay? Now we finish this and now we start the audit. They've already started, the audit company the CPA has already started requesting everything, so. Now we start on that, so it's a long process, never ending, but we're moving forward. Thank you.
And there again with Gloria, because she always likes to leave it limited, let me tell you, because she's already started inputting the new budget stuff for this upcoming 25, so that we're starting off with the actual numbers that are there in there for
And everything flows.
every fund that we've gotten, and then we received our grant agreements from the state for capital outlay. We had a few things that we needed to fix through our last year's audit for that, so that helps out with that. So you guys are working on that. So
We are working. Oh my gosh.
here we go.
Numbers are just like this all over the place.
Fire. I can't forget you. Updates. And if you don't say your update, then I'll give your update for you. You tell me what you got going on.
Chief's out right now, and we're on autopilot right now. We're doing good.
So two things that I forgot. One directly with fire is that the fire department just recently got their full perfect certification and redoing for the EMS side of that, and getting everything in line with that and passing that EMS part to a T.
You're talking about the, yes.
You just had that inspection that was completed that
Yeah, so-
fire chief was telling me about.
So yes, we did have the inspector come out and we got our EMS certification.
Mhm.
That's what you're talking about.
Yes, sir.
And also the pharmacy inspection went perfectly.
Yes,
well.
that one as well.
So if we were over prepared, and that's because of the chief, he's really good at that stuff.
Which is a great thing to be, right?
100%, yes.
And with that in mind as well, inspection with environment department as well, right?
Oh, good.
So we had one little minor deficiency, but it was with the wellhead itself, and that's an easy thing for us to fix down the line. Nothing to have to do with water quality by any means. Our water quality report is already posted online on the website, so you can see that there and review that. So just as an update on the great things that are happening within the departments as well. Moving on, sorry, Trustee Nevades.
I just wanted to ask you, because I submitted my recommendations for the employee handbook, and I hope you got them, so.
Yes, I have received those, yes, sir.
All right. The other one is just a comment. There's a vacant lot south of the lot where the patio bar is. It's a vacant lot, but there's, as of yesterday, there was a lot of stuff strewn all over that empty lot. So I'm just curious as to why there's so much stuff up there.
South of El Patio?
It's an empty lot, lots south of the block where it's El Patio is. There's
Right behind it.
south.
McComas property.
Yeah, I was gonna say McComas. Okay. Great. I know somebody to call. Right? Anything else, Trustee?
Yeah, that's it.
Trustee Johnson Beard.
No, just a great job and thank you to all the staff and congratulations to Lieutenant Diaz. Good job, everyone. That's it.
Trustee Cadena.
Yeah, I want to thank the staff too, the police and fire for sure. Congratulations, Lieutenant. And Gloria, thanks for all that work you've been doing on the budget on such short staff. Hopefully by next year you'll have more people on board. Everybody will have more people on board that can do, can feel better about fulfilling all the obligations you have. So, and I just wondered that one comment from Ms. Rachie. I mean, how do we update? Because it is nice to look at the Mesilla website and say, you know, what's showing at the fountain, hours of bars and restaurants, you know, all the restaurants. I mean, just to have things to do when they come to town. So who's doing that, or what's your plan for that?
Dorothy does all the new updates to the website.
Okay.
And then we do have our webmaster who completes all of the major updates. So, but I'll touch on that here in a minute too.
Okay. Great. So thank you guys.
Anything else?
That's it.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Just wanted to tell Gloria, the budget-wise is so much easier to read than it has been in past years.
It is.
It flows and it's easy to see the changes, so I'm not diving through 20 pages of financial records. So that's nice. You guys are doing a great job, and I'm glad that we were able to move everybody into the spots that you needed to help make this easier.
And we're a good team.
You are. I've
We're
seen you
very
guys in
good.
action. It's really great. And then congratulations to a lot of you guys, Lieutenant Diaz, Deputy 3 Reyes, Marshal Escarate, Lorenzo. You guys are doing great. You guys moved into bigger positions, and that's awesome. Congratulations. I know you guys aren't at the meetings a lot, so we can't congratulate everybody, but congratulations on your appointment. The other thing is we went to Molly training, me and Mayor Hernandez on Thursday, Friday. I'm not graduating Molly the theme this year, so I'm disappointed. I'm 6 points shy, but 1 more point ahead of him, so I'm happy. Well, until August, but completed my Molly 2 training, so hopefully by next year I'll be able to graduate with that certification. There's a lot of great information. We had a lot of great conversations, just procedure-wise, how we move forward, and a lot of the concerns we have about our code and contradictions and things like that. We're not the only municipality doing that. But they have great resources at the New Mexico Municipal League. They're always available. They'll help you go through it, help you understand it, help to break us down, help any of our staff. They're available in every department. What else? And I think that's all I got.
Great. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So just to go over a couple of things. So, number one, last week with community development, I did help out with a work session with planning and zoning. And that work session was to help out with a little bit of parliamentary procedure, effective running meetings, answering questions that they might have as well, just for kind of keeping things moving along. It was a great discussion all around, a lot of great questions and a lot of great clarification. So I hope that those planning and zoning commissioners got some good information out of that. I think some of them had some eye-opening, even though I think some of the comments were like, "Oh, it's parliamentary procedure. We're not gonna, we're just gonna be yawning here a little bit there." But we'll try to make it as exciting as possible. As that is. But I love parliamentary forum. I just think it's just one of those fun things there, and hearing the different ways that people do it effectively. But with that, that was a good thing. We do have to help out with Ms. Raichi's concerns on the website. So Dorothy is the main person on that, so I'll get with her to do some of the immediate updates on there. But I do have some ad hocs that are also being created with that. So we do have our ad hoc for arts, cultures, and the murals and things like that. That one, I don't know if Dorothy sent that one out yet, but you should be seeing that soon because I sent her those whole lists. If you did express interest on that, we do have another one for the short-term rental ordinance. We are getting Lodgers Tax Committee meeting this month, and then I do want to have Dorothy get together. It's same with Lodgers Tax and the mural committee. Really work together with a marketing and promotions committee to really drive forward more of the uniform marketing across the board, which pertains to the website and updating the website, going through with social media posts, streamlining all of those things that we have there, and creating uniform marketing and promotions for the town as a whole to hopefully drive more business in, as well as create different experiences across the board. And hopefully having that information and that feedback coming from the public as well, and being engaged through these ad hoc committees and getting that information. And then of course, trustees, any information or things that you would like to see, we definitely want to have there. As Mayor Pro Tem mentioned, it was a great meeting up in Albuquerque for Molly. I highly recommend it for any elected. She is ahead of me right now, but by the end of our the conference next month, I will be 1 point shy of getting my certification. So I will jump ahead of you. Not that there's any competition or anything, right? But it's a good thing at the end of the day to be an elected official that is certified by as a certified elected official. It helps out with the town on that sense. So. And with that, I don't have anything else that I can recall. So I will, if there's no objection, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you for your time. I'll just have to do the. No? We just got to hit in stream.
Right, that's where I met her and yeah, she's still there. I mean, that's why I asked you.